Hello everyone and happy Friday. I will be revisiting the lovely Goodreads and reading the 5 highest rated books on my want to read list. The first one is actually the Six of Crows, third book in the Six of Crows series, but that has yet to be released, which I'm so excited for it. But it has yet to be released. No surprise that it is at the very top. But the second highest rated book is Fighting Words by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. This one is rated 4.69 stars. Then the next highest rated is actually a book set, but I'm going to just be reading the very first book in the series, and that is A Land of Stories. I'm pretty sure the very first book in that series is The Wishing Spell, and this is written by Chris Colfer. Anyone who's unaware, he is an actor. He's most known for his role, Kurt, I believe is his name, in the TV show Glee. I'm really interested to see why his books are rated so high. I've heard a lot of great things about them, and I've heard he's a very good author, but I have yet to read anything. This book set is rated 4.64 stars. And then the third book is by Joanna Ho, and it's called Eyes That Kiss in the Corners. And I believe this is a pretty short book. It's a picture book, if I remember correctly. The fourth book is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, which is a book I've been wanting to read for so long, but it's so big, and I've heard that it's very, very sad. And I'm also quite scared because there's a lot of hype surrounding this book. The fifth and final one is actually one I own, so I don't have to just put up a plain old picture here and be uncool. The fifth and final book is Adventures in Fosterland Super Spinach, and this is written by Hannah Shaw, or the Kitten Lady. Yeah, I'm extremely excited to get into this. Pincher bug just fell out of my door. I don't like that. I'm literally halfway through Land of Stories, The Wishing Spell, I believe it's called. I think the rating is so high because he has a lot of fans that love him, and I totally understand that. And they probably just rated his book very high. I don't think it fits the rating, at least not the first book, obviously. And I'm sure his writing has gotten better over the years. It's very much telling versus showing. It definitely seems pretty babied for middle grade. It just doesn't seem like the characters, their challenges and stuff aren't really that challenging. Also, his wording of his sentences are very odd. He will always give you like an example sentence. I'm pretty sure this is similar to a sentence he wrote in the book, but let's just go with this. Alex climbed up the tree like the fastest squirrel in the world. His descriptions are always like da 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 da, like a da 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 da, and his descriptions are always like that, or he has no descriptions at all, or he's just telling versus showing. His characters are very stereotypical. You got the bookworm girl, the brother who could care less about homework and is just a little bit of a jokester, doesn't really care for anything, doesn't take anything seriously. Then you have the try-hard mom who's trying to keep it all together. Then you have the dead parent. You always got to have the dead parent. And then you have the grandma who is the sweetest person that make you milk and cookies whenever you're upset. And it's very stereotypical. Like I'm saying, like there's nothing challenging in this book. It's all very easily digestible. Also, I knew right away that when Alex and Connor found the journal that it was their dead dad. You wouldn't have a dead parent if you didn't need to like find something of them and them helping you along the story. If there always has to be a dead parent, and no matter what, the dead parent is somehow going to be involved in the story. That's why they're dead. And I don't not recommend this book because I believe some people will like it. Obviously some people do, but I think when you have a very popular actor, when it is announced that they're going to have a book, people go to Goodreads, whether they're a reader or not, and give it high ratings because they like the person, which is totally fine. And even if you do read the book and you don't like it so much, but you still want to support them in some kind of way by giving them a high rating on Goodreads, you're gonna do that. Don't mind the angle. There's cars all around me and I don't really want to see them filming. I just finished Land of Stories, The Wishing Spell. Well, I finished skimming the rest of the 30% of the book. I personally give this book a 2 out of 5 stars. And I started skimming it because it was the most repetitive book I've ever read in my life. The characters would get in these situations where they weren't, I mean, there were some that they easily could have figured out. They were just too stupid. it was just, they get into a sticky situation with these fairy tale-esque creatures, and then they somehow get assistance from someone else and escape. Every chapter they get into a sticky situation and then escape. So annoying. By 70% of the way through the book, I just literally read the last sentence of each paragraph and just the dialogue. Some pages I just skipped until I found a portion that looked slightly important, read it, continued it on, because I was just very bored. And also, it is revealed to us that fairy godmother is their grandma. So that means they're part fairy. It is, at first, in the beginning of the story, there is a major time difference between the fairy tale world and the real world, to where like just a few weeks in the fairy tale world is decades in the real world. But because the twins were born in the real world, that made it stop for some reason. Literally, their explanation for that was because magic is strange. He needs better editors and just better people to give him better feedback. Oh, also, the entire book is of the characters trying to find these 8 items to be able to make a spell to get them back to the real world. And at the end of the book, their fairy godmother, their grandma, just poofs them back into the real world. And it's just like, what was the point? What was the point? She's a fairy godmother. She should be able just to like poof herself to where they were right when she got to there looking for them. Because she came looking for them, but it took her that long. The story wasn't necessary if you really think about it. A little over halfway done with fighting words. Right now, I honestly don't know how I feel about the book. I don't dislike it, but it's a bit repetitive. The story basically follows 2 sisters, one named Della and then the other, her older sister, Suki. Perspective is from Della, the youngest sister. And from the very start of the story, we are told that these girls are placed in foster care, their mother is incarcerated, and her boyfriend, Clifton, I believe is his name, did something very bad to both of them. And the story kind of picks off from there. The synopsis of the story is actually, it's another synopsis that explains something that happens halfway through the book. But the book is basically about the girls in foster care, Suki getting a job and just trying to be the parental figure, continue being the parental figure for her younger sister, Della. Della is going to a new school, she is trying to make friends, and she's trying to understand and cope with everything that has happened to her and her sister. I want to find out what happens to the girls in the end. Basically their lives day in and day out, constantly, over and over again. And I'm a little bored. Get little flashbacks here and there of what happened with their mom, what Clifton has done and stuff like that, and why they are where they are. But those all the chapters are very, very short. I only can think of one thing that I don't like of this book, and that's the fact that it keeps repeating itself. Also, because it's said in the very first chapter that Della is told by her sister Suki that it's not good to cuss, so she uses the word snow instead of the cuss words. So whenever you see snowman, snowing, anything snow related, it's a curse word, but it's snow. Whenever that happens, and it happens a lot because Della does swear a lot and people around her swear a lot, you just constantly reading snow, oh, you know, it does kind of like make the sentences awkward because, you know, it doesn't fit because, you know, snow randomly put into some sentences. I think another thing why I may also not be enjoying this book is because I really wasn't wanting to read another book like this right now. About a week ago, I finished The Art of Breaking Things, and the plot of the story is very closely similar to this. Well, not the plot necessarily. Both stories focus on sexual abuse and older men preying on younger girls. So I was not wanting another book like that, and this book is that. It's definitely not as descriptive as The Art of Breaking Things, but you know, it's still the same subject matter, and I kind of just wanted a break when I started reading it. That kind of started hinting at what was going on behind the scenes between Clifton and the 2 girls. I'm like, I wanted a break, a little bit of a break. The only 2 books I've actually read about minors being preyed on. So it's not like I read these very often. This is my first time. Well, actually, this is my second time. So I was not wanting to read a book about this too close to the Art of Breaking Things, because the Art of Breaking Things was draining. I will probably be reading one of the happier books next. In the end, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I think if I was able to on Goodreads, I'd probably give it a 3.5. Just because it was kind of not necessarily saved, but the rating is higher because of how it ended. I have never come across many books that detail child abuse, but ever since The Art of Breaking Things, I am constantly finding myself finding books about child abuse. And it's not all on Goodreads, so I have no idea what in the world is happening. It's like just getting constantly recommended books that it's about child abuse, and while I did read 2 books now about child abuse, it's not my favorite subject to read, so please stop recommending it to me. I am DNFing The Nightingale by Kristen Hannah, which I'm very much disappointed by, and oh my goodness, I look disgusting. I was really trying. The book is very boring. The editing ain't good because the author constantly either forgets something that she mentioned earlier and completely contradicts herself, like with our characters' ages and stuff. Listening to the audiobook at night the majority of the time, so I thought it was just maybe me dozing off and not 100% paying attention. But then I looked at the reviews, because I always do that whenever I'm feeling really meh with a book, and I realized that that was something that a lot of people complained about. The book is just very boring. It's about these 2 sisters during World War II. I don't like either of them. I actually really despise both of them, and I looked up what happens in the end and everything, and I don't care. I really wanted to like this book because everyone just raves about it. I believe there's gonna be a romance between a Nazi and one of the sisters, and I know people can change. He obviously in the book is doing things that he shouldn't and manipulating situations, and I'm supposed to enjoy a romance with this person? No. Did finish this book. It only took me 3 minutes to listen to the audiobook. It's quite short. It was cute, and I liked the message of it. Basically just her accepting how she looked. And I thought it was a really sweet message. However, I think on Goodreads I give it a 4 out of 5 stars, but I meant to change it to 3 because it is so short. I just have a really hard time connecting with books that are only 3 minutes long. So it was just kind of like a quick listen kind of story. I understand why it would be rated as highly as it is, but I just have a hard time loving books that are so short to me personally. I'm pretty sure I can count on Super Spinach to wrap this all up and be good because I liked the first book of that series. Read and finished Super Spinach by Hannah Shaw. 5 out of 5 stars. I actually think I preferred it over the very first one, which I believe was just named Emma and Jez, I believe. Which I'm surprised by because I thought I would like the Emma and Jez one a little bit more, but all 4 of these animals I did watch from the Kitten Lady Hannah Shaw's Instagram and YouTube, like grow up and like heard their stories and everything like that, so I knew all 4 of these characters, animals, even before the books. I think with this one I also kind of knew from the first book of what more to expect with like the writing style, like the age range that it's really geared towards. Like I think anyone of any age can read this book and still enjoy it and think it's cute. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I give it a 5 out of 5 stars. That is it for this video. Would I say it's a success? Not really. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys again next part. Bye bye.